So this is episode 22, and it's just a follow-up to the previous video where I showed you how to read the dynamic aspect of your URL, and I closed with a statement that you will always receive the dynamic part of your URL as strings. And in this video, I want to show you how you can um, receive them as numeric data types, let's say precisely as integers, so that if you have to use them in the database, you will be able to do so. Okay, so to do that, let's simulate the idea of building a website where people will come and view information about products. Okay, so a product has a name, it has an SKU, and what else does it have? It also has a price, right? Yeah, so I'm going to mock a database, even though it's not going to sit in a database, it's in memory. I'm just going to create a Python list of items, and then I'll put dictionaries to define records in them. Okay, and then I'll show you how you can use dynamic routing to fetch, things. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all these, say goodbye to your German lessons, and then I'm going to define an in-memory database. I call it items. Let me just say items table, and then that is going to be a Python list. Okay, I've just put it on separate lines so that it is clear, because I'm going to put dictionaries in there as records. So let's say each item has an ID. So let's say this item has an ID of 1, or let me start from 0, because I'll be doing list indexing which start from 0. But once we get to databases, we don't have all these troubles. Okay, and let's say it has a name. What are we selling? Let's say we are selling the calculator, and it has a price. So let's say the price is 15.09, and what else? Let's say it has an SKU, and let's say the SKU is broken. Okay, so I'm a lazy programmer, and I'm going to copy and paste so I can change these things, even though I don't advise you to copy and paste code. But in this case, so I'm going to change these IDs. 1, 2, 3. Let's say this is, what else are we selling? Let's say smart TV. I'm not good at shopping, so I don't even know what products to put there. And let's say our smart TV costs this, and the SKU is this, and item number 2 is what are we selling? Let's say a router, and let's say that costs this, and the SKU is this, and this is a Mac Book Pro, and because it's coming from almighty Apple, let's say it's 5,900, and this is the SKU, and I'm going to do list indexing, so I'm going to start from 1. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I just want to be consistent when we start using databases. Like I said, we will not have these troubles, and I have to get rid of this guy here. Okay, so this is our in-memory database of items, and each row is a record that has ID, which is an integer, and a name, a price, and an SKU. Okay, now let's define a URL that we can use to receive the ID of the item we want, and then we query our database to fetch it. Okay, so I'm going to say app.route, and I'll say product. Okay, and then here I want ID. Okay, and then I will define my function. I'll say get product by ID. Okay, and because I have a dynamic path here called ID, this function should receive ID. Okay, and then over here, all that I will do is I will get the product. I'll say product is equal to items table, and then I'll get whatever is at that particular index, so index ID. Okay, and then now I can say return, and I'm going to manually construct a string that will give me information about this product that has been selected. So I will say product, so I'll put the product name here, and I'll say with SKU, and then I'll put the SKU here, and then I'll say cost, then I'll put the price here. So I'll say dot format. So the first thing is the product is going to be the product name, okay, and because it's a dictionary, I'll do product, and then I'll find the name, and over here I'll do product, and then I'll say the SKU, and over here is the price, so I'll do price. Okay, so if everything is okay, then this program should work, but I promise you it is not going to work, and I would come and explain to you why it is not going to work. So let's save this and restart our server. Okay, good. Now let's go to product /1. Ooh, internal server error. What happened? Let's go and read the error. So, Flask is smart. Look at the error right here. It says type error. List indexing must be integers or slices, not str. str stands for strings. What did we cause? Okay, we have a table consisting of records, and each record, mind you, is a Python dictionary. And this is why I said before you take this course, you should have the basics of Python. This is just a list of Python dictionaries, okay? And you pass a dynamic path here, which is supposed to be the ID. And I'm actually using the ID to index the, I'm using the ID as an index to fetch any of these 4 records here. So the first one is at index 0, index 1, index 2, and index 3. Okay, now I went to product /1. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to fetch this here. And how did I do that? This is it. But why didn't it work? It didn't work because this ID here, like I told you, is a dynamic path, and unless you specifically tell Flask to convert it to a numeric data type, it is always going to bring it to you as a string. So Flask was trying to use a string as an index into a list, which is wrong, because you can only index list using integers. So how do we solve that? Easy peasy. In the dynamic route, you can just say int colon. What it means is that you are telling Flask that this URL is defined as /product/ some ID, which you must convert to an integer. And by you, I mean Flask must do its magic to convert whatever I bring in into an integer. And then now it is fit for me to use as an index into the list. Okay, so let's restart our server and see if the gods are not to blame. Okay, cool. Now let's come here and go to 1. Yay, it's working. It is saying smart TV with SKU blah 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 cost 2789.09. Okay, let's try 0, and this 0 is going to work because 0 is actually indexing the first item here, which is a calculator that cost 15.09. Let's go to index number 2. It says router with SKU blah 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 cost 1556.09. And let's go to the last item, which is 3. And that is a MacBook Pro coming from Almighty Apple, and it costs 5,900.09. Okay, now let's do something evil. Let's try to fetch an index that doesn't exist. Woo! Internal server error. Why? Because we try to access index 38 from a list that is made of only 4 items. So it is indexed out of bounds. Okay, and in future videos I'll show you how to handle that, but the whole lesson here is for you to learn this piece here. You can just say int colon and then the name of the dynamic path, and Flask is going to take care of converting it from a string into a numeric data type so that you can use it for lookup into your databases. So once again, thank you very much for watching. You guys are awesome. I like your feedback. I like your support. Leave your questions. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and let me know if you have any issues. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.